Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Here's what's happening today in America. Americans attacked. Latest with the speaker's race, a surprising suspect. And for the first time, it's not Mexicans who are crossing the southern border the most. That's all coming up. Then Bill will be here with your message of the day. But first, the United States is sending a terminal high-altitude area defense system, an additional Patriot air defense missile system battalions to the Middle East. This is after there have been attacks on American troops in the region. So we have 2 aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean Sea, their support ships. We have 2,000 Marines and Special Forces guys who the White House took a picture of the other day and posted on their social media accounts. That's what we know of, at least. And last week, a military base in Syria was attacked. A base in Iraq. We have 2,500 troops in Iraq, 900 in Syria, and missiles from Yemen launching missiles. Now, at first we were told about that attack, but it turned out to be much more significant than we were initially led to believe. Now that Jim Jordan is not going to be Speaker of the House, looks like they're on to plan whatever number they're on. 9 candidates have joined the House Speaker's race. The Republicans will gather at 6:30 tonight, and they have an internal conference vote 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and they hope to have a floor vote tomorrow as well. McCarthy is not one of those 9, but he said he'd take his job back if the Republicans want him back. 2 police officers were shot outside of a Dollar General store in Laverne, Tennessee. It's a couple miles southeast of Nashville. Officers were investigating reports of a stolen vehicle. They got in an altercation with a suspect who pulled a handgun and shot them, one in the groin and the forearm, the other in the shoulder. Now, Slater, why are you talking about this? I'm sure stuff like this happens all the time. Well, the suspect is the son of the Nashville police chief. The department says the father and son are estranged, have had minimal contact over the years. Report from the border. For the first time on record, I imagine ever, Mexicans are not the largest group of nationals to cross the border illegally. For the month of September, number 1 on the list, Venezuelans. 218,000 encounters of people of all nationalities last month. That's a 21% increase from August. Also, in the first 2 weeks of the fiscal year, our Border Patrol has apprehended 30 Iranians, 60 Syrians, 35 Pakistanis, over 100 Russians, 285 Afghans, and 2,000 people from China. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. The great Bill O'Reilly is here with your message of the day. Next.
Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Monday, we are approaching 1 year until we vote for president, November 2024. I believe that President Biden has been terrible and has caused massive problems for this country, but others disagree. However, when you look back at history, there have been some very bad presidents. James Buchanan, perhaps the worst. He did nothing to stop the renegade South from attacking federal depots and organizing secession. So when Abraham Lincoln took over as president, the Civil War was imminent. Then, after Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson, the vice president, took office. He was almost as bad as Buchanan because even though the North won the war, Johnson would not impose discipline on the South. So therefore, Confederates ran wild, often hurting poor black people. And Johnson did nothing. Fast forward to Herbert Hoover. He did nothing during the Great Depression of the 1930s. A third of the American population didn't have enough to eat. People were living outside. Hoover had nothing to offer. Then there was Jimmy Carter. Those of you who are of a certain age will remember. Terrible economy. Iran embarrassing us by taking 66 hostages. Carter was awful. I think Biden may be worse. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. Joanne, concierge member. So Bernard Goldberg does not believe Mr. Trump acts like a U.S. president. I guess he believes a U.S. president should work 2 hours a day, fumble over every speech, can't walk or talk, and on and on and on and on. I think that Bernie was talking about demeanor. And I think we all have to admit that if Donald Trump could improve his demeanor a bit, I think he'd win in a walk. But every day to have conflict, choose your fights. Al, BLM is led by self-admitted communists. Any American company that supports radicals such as BLM, which is home to, should be boycotted. Okay, I'm not a boycott guy, but if you want to not, we gave all the list of the companies, corporations that have donated to Black Lives Matter. If you are a premium or concierge member on BillO'Reilly.com, you can get that transcript sent directly to you with every corporation that has donated to them. And then if you don't want to do business with those corporations or companies, don't. That takes my account. I seriously weigh that. Corey Patrick, Carmel, Indiana. I work for State Farm, and I had their home and auto. They doubled my premiums. They all are. They all are. All these insurance companies, even if you don't have anything, they're doubling your premiums. That's Bidenomics. And they get away with it. What are you going to do? I shopped around. I got a better deal, as I told you. But they're all doing it. State Farm, Allstate, all the ones that are spending millions and millions of dollars on the TV advertising. Boom. No explanation. I tried. In a moment, something you might not know. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 95 years ago today, Republican presidential candidate Herbert Hoover delivered the closing speech of his campaign. In a major address, he summed up his entire political philosophy in 2 words: rugged individualism. Here is the story. Though victorious, America emerged from World War I demoralized. More than 100,000 soldiers had been killed. Tens of thousands returned with ailments, mainly shell shock. Throughout the 1920s, the U.S. embraced a period of isolationism. Enter Republican presidential candidate Herbert Hoover. The self-made millionaire loathed the democratic principles of state-run enterprise and government handouts. In October 1928, Hoover gave an address from New York City. He said, quote, "We have a choice between the American system of rugged individualism and a European philosophy of state socialism. The acceptance of these ideas means the destruction of self-government through centralization and the undermining of the individual initiative through which our people have grown to unparalleled greatness," unquote. 2 weeks later, Herbert Hoover defeated Al Smith in a landslide and took office in Washington, D.C. 7 months after the inauguration, America suffered the worst financial collapse in the history of human civilization, the Great Depression. By 1932, the GDP was down 55%. Half the nation's banks had gone out of business. A third of the entire American population was unemployed. In Washington, Hoover doubled down on rugged individualism. He refused any direct aid to the American people. Tens of thousands went homeless. Shanty towns called Hoovervilles popped up in every city, including New York's Central Park. But Hoover remained defiant. And here's something else you might not know. Herbert Hoover's handling of the Great Depression nearly ruined the Republican Party. After losing to Franklin Roosevelt in 1932, Democrats controlled the White House for the next 20 years. Back after this. If you or your business is falling behind filing your tax returns, or if you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The Biden administration just unveiled an $80 billion plan to modernize the IRS and reduce the unpaid tax debt. Are you tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments? You do not have to face the IRS alone. Hire Anthem Tax Services. They can help you settle your delinquent tax problems and all collections, and may even be able to reduce your back taxes significantly. If Anthem Tax Service cannot reduce your current monthly payment with the IRS or state, or they don't put you in a better position, you might qualify for the 100% money back guarantee. Please call Anthem Tax Services 800-810-9193, 800-810-9193, 800-810-9193.